All we want and all we need is found in Jesus. All we ask is more of you. No, nothing else can satisfy our heart's desire. Oh, we want is more of you.
For the Lord is good and his love endures. Yes, the Lord is good forever. And I'll shout it out from the mountaintops. Yes, the Lord is good forever.
How many believe that tonight? All we want to say. All we want and all we need is found in Jesus. All we ask is more of you. Nothing else can satisfy our heart's desire. All we want not satisfied. Anything but you, Jesus. For the Lord is good, and His love endures. Yes, the Lord is good forever, and I'll shout it out from the mountain tops. Yes, the Lord is good forever. We want to say we want you more and more. Say it again. We want you, Jesus.
I am not in love with this life. I'm not in love with this pain. I'm not in love with my efforts. I am not in love with my gains. I've been a slave to my portion, Lord. I built the God in my likeness. In hindsight, I was reckless. A wicked heart, I was trifling. A wicked heart that's enticing. A graveyard in my brave heart. 49% how we praise God. With the other 51, we slay God and crucified Him afresh. Yet expect to see God bless. And we expect to trigger His mercy in spite of what we reject. And expect to invoke His favor as I seem fit. Tailor-made for destruction, loving the stench of death. I drink this, so I built my kingdom away from His glory and away from His grace. But away from a broken man, I would never turn His face. So I taste the Lord and attest that He is good. About and breeze revelation, absolute surrender all that I could. So I surrender all of my shame, surrender all of my life. He opened the windows of heaven and I want to spin it all on my wife. Right.
I've been struggling for so long. When no longer do it on my own. No. I've been struggling for so long. I can no longer do it on my own. No. I need you, yeah. 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 I need you, yeah.
That's where our foundation was, and you know what I'm saying. So even though at the same time that the world was happening to me, the kingdom was happening to me. My testimony is figuring out my identity and how that correlates with who he is and where I'm supposed to be. At this time also we moved from the projects to the most racist town in the city. I experienced walking down the street and walking down the school hallway, somebody yelling out "nigger," and they would go, the guys in my grade, after I, like, come on, man, I'm from the projects. I've been roughed up by my stepdad who got hands, you know what I'm saying? So I could fight, and I like to fight. Now, more anger, more bullies now. Rico bullying the bully, you know what I'm saying? My stepdad is still abusive at this point, so this is 94. I'm 14 at this point, right? My stepdad punches me in the mouth. For some reason, one of my friends called and she gets smart with him. He blames it on me. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any more input. I don't know. I wasn't here. So he's mad. He's drunk. He's high. He takes my brand new Sega Genesis into the kitchen, takes a cast iron skillet and smashes my Sega Genesis. I'm 14. I don't have any money. I forget how I got the Genesis. I think my cousin Ira gave it to me. Somehow, we would trade stuff and, it wasn't, I wasn't stealing yet. I started stealing, but not yet. I didn't start stealing yet. But I had this Sega Genesis. He smashed it. And I'm just standing there looking because he bugging out. He tripping. And I just don't have, at this point, I want to fight him. Now, I ain't know if I could beat him at that point, but I wanted to try, right? So, but I didn't give him the response that he wanted, right? So he going off, he's smashing the Sega Genesis, right? And I'm just standing there looking at him. And I think if I remember correctly, I had a look on my face. It was a straight face, but it was a hint of "you look stupid." And he got to yelling and hollering, and he punched me in my lip and busted my lip open, blood everywhere. And my mama come down the steps. She was like, "What's going on?" And I'm going off. I'm like, and I'm crying. I want to fight. So that's the first time I was introduced to rage. That's the first time I wanted to kill somebody. So he going off. He like, "Let's go outside." And I'm laughing. I'm crying and I'm laughing at the same time. And in my mind, I'm going to kill you tonight. I'm going to kill you tonight. And my mama separated us. I went to bed and I slept it off. And a week later, he hit my brother in the head with a dress shoe, busted his head open, and my mama put him out. I purposely went down like the next day or two to my daddy job so he could see my lip and ask me what happened so I could tell him. So then my daddy started trying to get custody of me, which I'm glad that it didn't happen because my daddy worked. I think I would have been in way too much. I would have had too much freedom over my daddy. Cause my daddy worked all the time and nobody lived with him at that time. So my daddy worked all the time, and I would have had I would have had a baby because I would have had somebody in there, and it just, and my daddy, my daddy was he wasn't no clubber, he wasn't no drugger, no drinker, no smoker. I mean, he smoked cigarettes back then, but my daddy wasn't in it. My daddy worked. You know what I'm saying? My daddy house was clean. He worked. His car was clean. Stayed shaved and haircut and all of that. So, not that I thought my daddy house would have been a bad environment for me,
but God wasn't there. Because my daddy didn't pray. My daddy didn't read. My daddy didn't go to church. My daddy ain't talking. My daddy ain't play no gospel. I ain't never heard my daddy listening to no gospel. I ain't never heard my daddy talking about God. God was at my mama house. That's why I needed to be. So praise God that, you know what I'm saying, he didn't really go too hard because my mama had put my stepdad out. So by my stepdad not being there, I'm out of danger. And, you know, he filed the papers and tried to this, that, and that, but he just let it go. Like, you know, and then I was still back and forth. I was with him every other week, you know, so we was, you know, around that time from about, like I said, from about 9, 10, you know what I'm saying, to about, I say about 10, 11, 12, about 13, 14, about 13, 14, I was around my daddy every other weekend until I started working and I had better things to do as a young teenager. You ain't trying to hang out with your daddy. You ain't trying to hang out with your mama. So from about 9 or 10 to about 13, 14, all that, you know, I was with him, you know. So I you know, I never say I wasn't around my daddy. I didn't know my daddy. I don't have that story, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't abandoned by my father, you know what I'm saying? But he only, the reason why that is such a point that I wanted to emphasize is because in the 90s, especially with hip hop, and in the 90s and us getting into hip hop, one of the things that, I guess, for lack of better words, made for good content or writing fuel was that you didn't have a father and how bad your father was. You know what I'm saying? Especially in writing and in my circumstances, I know for a fact I exaggerated my relationship with my father based on my emotions. Looking back, you know, I just didn't have enough time with my father, but I knew he loved me. You know, I was around him, you know what I'm saying? And he never abused me, never hurt me, never, you know what I'm saying? But that goes to show that the influence of the culture, of the fatherless home culture, and the, you know, my parents were never together, but, you know, I didn't have the Tupac story of, you know, my daddy was a deadbeat and wasn't around. That wasn't the thing. So, and I'm really grateful for that because, like I said in the last episode, I can tell the things that I got from my father and the things that I got from my stepfather that other guys that didn't have a father at all, that they didn't get. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to point that out. Had the tools that he had and he didn't have all of the tools. I'll just say that. You know what I'm saying? So, but now, like I said earlier, I start stealing. So I start now, so Norwood, I start rapping. That's when I first started, like, man, I'm gonna figure. So a couple years. So first I was playing football, and I you know, I could have been nice in that, and I was playing basketball. I was okay, but I'm only 5'10", so you know, I wasn't gonna be no Nate Robinson or Spud Webb, but you know, but music was always a part of me in my life. So, you know, we growing up, me and Brent in the living room performing for mama all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote my first song in the 5th grade. It was a little R&B song, but I wrote my first song, you know what I'm saying? And tried to write a rap song, but I didn't know how to write rap at 10. So fast forward to 14, 94. Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Scarface. This is who I'm studying them, and I would rewrite their rhymes and put myself in it to teach myself how to write, how to write rhymes. But then I didn't know music timing. I didn't know how to write it to the beat. I didn't know how to. So, but this is my outlet for my anger. I'm writing, myself into these songs, and I'm learning how to write my own songs, and I'm writing my experience into these songs. And now this is my outlet. So I forget about football. I forget about basketball. And now I'm straight music, because I can put all my frustration, all my anger, all my resentment, all my pain into these raps. And guess who I found? The minister of pain, Tupac. The minister of misery, Scarface. And then the player pimp and tell you about how to play these girls, Snoop Dogg and 8Ball and MJG. So I'm getting my philosophy from hip hop. So I didn't have a grandfather for wise philosophy. My father ain't a philosophy type of person. He's just a regular guy. He's not a philosopher or anybody like that. My stepdad wasn't either. They was just cool dudes, work, you know what I'm saying, and take care of the family and whatever. And they were simple guys, you know what I'm saying. My mother's father died when she was a kid, so never met him, didn't have him. My step grandfather that I got Skelton name from, I was around him a little bit, and that's really the only grandfather that I knew. But he wasn't really around. He didn't really, I didn't get any wisdom or any game or any, philosophy or life, whatever from him. And then my father's father, I probably seen him 10 times in my life, you know what I'm saying? And I can't even remember a conversation I've ever had with him. I mean, he was a cool dude. He was a cool guy, but I didn't know him. My daddy would take me over there almost to be like, let me show you your granddad. And it was a hey. But he wasn't really, needless to say, he wasn't really like that with my daddy. So that's how my daddy didn't have all of the fatherly tools that he needed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting my philosophy and my identity from hip hop. So now I gotta be fly. We start stealing from the mall. So, summer of 94, I'm the freshest. This is the type stuff I used to steal. You know what I'm saying? Polo shirts, Nautica, Tommy Hilfiger, New River. We used to go to the mall and steal the top and the bottom. We'd go with some baggy clothes and go in the dressing room and take two or three of the same outfit and try on a pair. We wasn't trying on nothing. I'll put on an outfit and go put the other ones back. And we did that, and I had a full wardrobe, and then we started stealing music. So hip hop is taking. I ain't got no job. I don't got no money. So now we stealing tapes, and we getting away with that for a minute. And then there's one time, the last time, because I wasn't a thief. Like, I'm not a thief. I don't steal, but I was stealing then, and because it's the enemy can make sin not look like sin. The enemy makes it where you justify being wrong. And I remember those seasons in my life. I remember a season in my life that I made sex outside of God's design. And this goes back to what I was saying before. That's why we latched on to all of the hip hop that exaggerated our circumstance because now we got more of a reason to be a victim. Now we got more of a reason to be in the streets and to do the wrong thing and to, you know what I'm saying, yield to every one of our emotions and our desires because we feel entitled. The world has wronged us. Our daddies walked out on us so we can do what we want to do. That was part of the story. So anything that would feed that, we would latch on to. You know what I'm saying? Rationalize and figured out a way to finagle my mind to be okay with it, and theft and selling drugs and you know, but we were still in tapes, and I had about 3 tapes in this pocket and about 3 tapes in this pocket. Now we figured out how to rip the little alarm thing off, and me and Jamar, we Jamar was with me. He got away, but I didn't. So instinct told me, because the police came in. They came in and they stood at the front of the store, and we like, oh man, the boy's here. So I took all of the tapes out my pocket and put them back on the shelf. But then I thought, they ain't paying no attention to us. So we put the tapes back in our pocket. But I picked up one wrong tape. I took them out my pocket and I picked them back up, and I picked up the wrong one that I thought I took the security thing off. And we walked through, and we walked through. And 2 people was coming in, and me and Jamar was going out. And I tried to walk out at the same time. Stop. Y'all 2 walk in. Well, nah, he ain't even stopped them because they was coming in, so he know they didn't go. He said, y'all go back. He said, you come through. He told Jamar to go through. He didn't go off. He said, you come through. Beep, beep, beep. I was sick. Jamar just disappeared. So now the mall has to call my mother to come up there and get me. They got me in the back. So I got my first little charge for, I forget what it was, petty theft or whatever. It was, stealing out the store, stealing out. So that stopped my theft career. One summer I had so many clothes that, and now I'm just getting greedy. So, I got on probation for that, and I got barred from the mall for some years or whatever. They said you can't never come back, but they ain't paying no attention to me. I was back the year after that, but I wasn't stealing no more. So that was the summer. So later on that year, I get my first job at 14. So now, I'm working, and my mama didn't make too much. She didn't make this a habit. But from time to time, she would ask me to give her some money. And I felt I was resentful for that because, okay, I got a little job and I'm not asking you for nothing. I'm paying for my own stuff now. Just take care, And I was kind of, and she only did it a couple times. And I can't remember if she did it like give me some money so I could put it up for you, or I can't remember, but I perceived it as she was asking me to give her money to help out with the bills. And I would help and give. And I, used to, when I started working, man, I started helping with school clothes and this, that, and that. But something, maybe I just, that day or that time, I just wasn't trying to come up off of what little money I had. And I just, and that was what I realized later on that I was resented for. Resentment came in because all the times when I was younger and my parents had to work, I had to stay home and babysit, and I hated them for that. I had to, even when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, I had to take my little brothers out. Now, Brittany, he's a couple years younger than me, so he can go out and jump and do. But I had a little baby brother, little Ed, that was 1 or 2 years old, and my stepdad would make me take him in the stroller all day, and I hated him for that. So resentment. And my mama would be at work, but I'm not. All I know is I got this kid with me all day that ain't mine. So, and then when both of them working, we get home from school and we got to stay in the house all week because they work second shift. So now I'm in the house all day by myself with my brothers, with my 2 little brothers. So I'm pissed because I know this ain't my job. I knew this ain't my job. So that, I believe, transferred into the whole thing with my mama. And when she asked me for some money, I can't remember why it was, but I might have took it the wrong way. But I wasn't digging that. I'm also fighting more and more. I got my first little job, and now I catch my second case, and I go to jail for 2 weeks. Why? Because young Rico decides that I get this pellet gun from my cousin, and it looked like a real gun, but it's a pellet gun. You ain't gonna kill nobody with a pellet gun. I mean, you could put an eye out, you could do some damage, but we used to shoot each other with BB guns and pellet guns. I wasn't thinking like that. We would have BB gun wars, and I wasn't thinking to the severity of it that it was. So, man, I take this pellet gun to school. I don't even take it to school. What happened? I forget how I had it. It was my cousin's. And I had it at home, and I took it to school. But after school was over. We was out of school. It was after school. We was out, and we was down the street from the school, kind of on school grounds. But anyway, I was just shooting people with the pellet gun. And everybody was laughing and having a good time, and and acting like one of my friends had a car, and I was riding around with him, and I was acting like we was doing a drive-by and shooting some of my friends, and it was like, quit playing. You know what I'm saying? And we just kids and acting stupid and having fun, but we weren't trying to hurt nobody. But I shot this girl in the leg, and she was laughing. And she was laughing, and but it put a big bruise on her thigh. And when she went home and she was, getting undressed, her mother or her daddy saw the bruise, and she was like, "What is that?" And she was like, "Oh, somebody, we was playing. Somebody, one of the kids shot me with a pellet gun," and they was not having it. I'm not one of those people who try to put race on everything. Like I said, I was in a racist part of town, but I don't think that was it. I think, I don't know what it is, but I never even thought about the racial aspect of it. That just ain't my style. Even then, when I was in that neighborhood experiencing racism almost every day, I just didn't think, because me and her, we was cool, and then everybody was laughing. So, and she told me, she was like, "Rico, I didn't tell." I was like, "Don't worry about it. It's, and I was mature enough to know, like, man, the parent heard the pellet gun, and I could have, young boy, and who knows what they thinking." But anyway, fast forward, I get expelled for that. Not only do I get expelled for that, I got to go to juvie for 2 weeks, me and my guy. I don't know why they locked him up. He didn't shoot anybody with the pellet gun, but he had the car, and I was riding around shooting. I don't even know how he got locked up. Anyway, but yeah, so first time in jail, second time I catch a case. So get expelled. I end up at another high school. So all of this is the anger. All of this is the anger. All of this is the warping of my mind. So I get to now, when I get out of expulsion or the next year, I don't go back to the racially charged school. I go to the hood school. I go back to a city school. You know what I'm saying? And I'm working and I'm doing. I ain't getting in no more trouble. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even trying to sell no. Yes, I do. I try to sell crack again. Horrible at it. I worked. I worked. Even out throughout my whole life, I was more of the working type of. You know what I'm saying? But still anger, still aggression, still this hard shell. I'm building this. Now I'm known for fighting. I ain't no tough guy, but you know what I'm saying? So around this time is when I start searching and praying, searching God for myself. My mama ordered me a ever increasing Bible, the leather Bible, the black one with the, you know what I'm saying, with my name in it and everything. And I started reading for myself. I had a thirst for, and I think this is, if I remember correctly, this is when I started to use my faith in this way. And this method of how what I'm about to explain is got me a long way through this absolute surrender walk. So I started to ask God to do things for me in my life. Things that I couldn't or wasn't ready to do on my own, as far as maturity or as far as faith or as far as my confidence in him. I started asking him for the desire to read. I started asking him for understanding, because I knew that I didn't want to read. But I knew I needed to, though. I knew I didn't want to, but I knew I needed to. So I started to read on my own from time to time. I started to not really study, but I would pray, but I would start to read on my own. But I'm pulled in a billion different directions, because now I'm chasing girls. I'm chasing this money. I got a job, and man, I ain't really thinking about. I mean, I'm going to school, but I really ain't thinking about school, because man, I'm making a couple of dollars, and so I'm learning how to serve my flesh more and more. I'm learning how to feed my flesh, but it's crazy, because I'm learning how to also feed my spirit at the same time. It's a dual thing happening at the same time. Fast forward a few years, and we start going to the studio and really pursuing music and really creating music. And during that time, in the mid 90s, I met one of my friends, Mike, and he actually taught me how to count bars. He taught me music theory, where I could, and then it exploded. Like I'm like, oh, that was the key to actually know how to write music. Like I knew how to write rhymes, but I didn't actually know how to write them on beat, and I didn't understand the math of music. But once I learned that, it was over. I learned how to loop tapes. I would find the tape. I would find the part of the beat at the end or the beginning or somewhere in the beat where nobody was saying nothing. I would take it and loop it, and make it long enough where I can make my own song. Now we got tapes and tapes and tapes of songs, and I'm just perfecting writing and performing. And then we start performing, and we start going to the studio, and I'm falling in love with music. So now it's about 2000. We put out our first little CD. You know what I'm saying? I get my first car. I have a horrible car wreck where I almost lost my right eye. If y'all could see, I don't know if you could, but this scar across my face, windshield, like this is a scar. The you know, the where the hair don't grow like that, that's a scar. Right here is a scar. You know what I'm saying? And it scars him. You know, so I wanted to give it a little bit more context of the car wreck. I hit a light pole. My head went through the windshield. The steering wheel hit my face, split my eye. It literally split my eyeball open. Like when y'all meet me and you ever see my eye, my right eye my pupil isn't a circle. It's like a key. It's like a U. Like the top of the brown of my eye on the top is not there. So it's brown all the way around up until you get to like the top. It's a U shape. So the iris goes right into the white part. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I almost, you know, it could have been a lot worse. I was smoking and drinking all day. I was up all day and decided to try to make it home, and I hit the curb. I fell asleep, hit the curb, and woke up. And right before I hit the light pole, I grabbed the steering wheel and I went up, and head busted the glass, and I couldn't see. So I'm trying to find my cell phone. This is 2000. Cell phones is popping. I'm looking for my cell phone, but I can't see. It's blood everywhere. And I can't see out of this eye, but it's blood everywhere, and I just got my eyes closed because I'm in shock. So I'm reaching around looking for my phone, and I grab something that I think is my phone, and I got to put it up to this eye, but it's one of those disposable cameras. Y'all remember those disposable Kodak cameras? We used to have a gang of those. We used to take pictures all the time. So, and you know, finally found my phone, got out the car, and I'm calling the police, and I'm calm, and literally, and this is something that I've always done. Like, whenever there's danger, since early teenage years, and whenever I'm in a bad situation, I instantly run to prayer. I start praying, and it always calms me down. So this same thing, I start praying, and I'm calling the police, and I'm calling the ambulance, and the cop stops and pulls up on me. He gets out to check on me and to help me. And when he walks up on me and he sees my face, I see him say, because he's looking at my eye. He look like y'all, you can't tell right now. But if I had, I got pictures from back when it happened, and I'm all like it was bad. Like my eye was hanging, like not my eye was hanging, but my eyelid was split open. Like literally, if you could see, this scar goes from here to like my cheek. Like it is, you know what I mean? And when I was talking to him, I turned around and looked at him, and he was like, oh, like almost like a scary movie, like, you know what I'm saying? So, I thank God for my family, because like I said, my daddy loved me, and he was the first one at the hospital, and I didn't call my mama. I didn't call my daddy. I didn't call anybody. I gave him my mama's number. So the hospital called my mama, and my mama called my daddy, and my daddy was there. Like, he was there first. He was there. You know what I'm saying? So he was there in the hospital. He took care of me when, you know, like that's my guy. I love my daddy. So just wanted to give a little bit more context to that part of the story. So let's get back into it. Fell asleep out drinking and smoking all day and trying to go home. I was up, and I worked overtime this day. I was up at 3 o'clock. Got off. I did my overtime on Saturday. Got off work. Smoking, drinking, kicking it all day. It's 1 o'clock. I've been up almost for 24 hours. My transmission is going out in my car, so I don't want to just pull over because, man, if I pull over and pull into a parking spot, I can't just back up because my reverse is gone. So I don't feel like pulling into a parking spot and then having to get out and push myself out of the parking spot because my transmission going out. I had just got my transmission fixed, and I called the guy to put the transmission in. Like, man, this transmission slipping. He said, all right, I'm gonna call you when we get another one. Right? Transmission slipping. I don't want to. So I'm trying to make it home. I'm falling asleep on the way. Oh yeah, another quick little tidbit. 2 days later, in the hospital. No. Yeah, 2 days later, after I come home from the hospital, actually, right? The shop called me talking about, hey, Rico, we got you a transmission. I'm laying in the bed. I'm like, man, I just totaled that car, man. Y'all, you good? He said, what? I said, yeah, man, I hit a light pole, messed up my eye and everything. Like, literally, like 2 days after I had that car wreck, they called me with my brand new transmission. And, well, it wasn't brand new, it was used, but, you know. So, yeah, that still hurts to this day. So, yeah. And they say most wrecks of people falling asleep at the wheel happen within a mile of your home. I was literally at the bottom of my street, rolled past my street and hit a light pole and my no seat belt. And when I hit the light pole, I woke up, grabbed the steering wheel, and my head went through the windshield, and that cut up all this. And then my face hit the steering wheel and split my eye open. So, yeah, that was traumatic, but you know, I survived. This eye sight is worse than this eye, but you know, I'm good. You know, you know, God is good. But anyway, so, but now the part about sex and perversion comes back up because around this time, I meet a girl who I fall madly in love with, right? And I met 3 girls in these next 3-4 years, right? And every one of them was dope people, right? And the thing about me that they said why they liked me the most outside of, you know, whatever else they liked, I was cool or I did music, but they said, all of them said it too. All of them said, you know why I like you? Cause you love God. Cause you talk about God, right? But I wasn't mature enough to do what I should have done or could have done with those relationships. These were good women. The first girl her father was a preacher, so she was a church girl, and that's what drew me to her, and we talked about God, but I was also trying to put sex in there. So I'm just tearing down the whole thing. Like, we gotta, you know, she wasn't, you know, she was, you know what I mean? And she told me, like, I like you because I like you because you love God. So fast forward past that, basically I fleshed that up. You know what I mean? The next girl, I got her reading the Bible. I kind of introduced her to God. She said the same thing. Like, I love you because you teach me about God. She ended up, I broke her heart because I was still in love with the first girl, and I wasn't really ready to be available for her. But I'm still like 19, 20. I ain't got no business doing none of this. I don't know what I'm doing. But the world, culture, music has warped and perverted everything, polluted, contaminated everything. So I'm battling. I don't know that I'm supposed to. Well, I do know, but I got this thorn in my flesh. Like Mama is pouring into me, and God is pouring into me, the Holy Spirit, and I know these things, but I've been programmed a totally different way from 3 years old about that control of my sexual urges. So while I love these girls, or I guess in a way that in the immature way that I guess I did or I could, I didn't know, I didn't have the strength or the revelation to do that the right way. So then I met a third girl who said the same thing. Now all three of these girls I could have married these girls. Because we was just cool, they were actually my friends. You know what I'm saying? The third one I actually tried to marry. We was off and on for a few years, and it was just, and then in that same time frame, I did the whole transition to I ain't having no sex, and I went 1,000,000,000% kingdom, and I don't think she was ready for that shift. But anyway, but all three of them were my actual friends. And I always look back and I say, at least those women should still be my friends, but we destroyed the relationship with sex. It's hard to go backwards when that's a whole different type of relationship and experience once you introduce sex. And a lot of times, most times you can't, it's just weird. Not weird. It's just, I don't know. I've seen you in a different way, and I've crossed a line. That's why an assault crime is not as bad as a sex crime, because you violate something different with sex. If I just punch you in your face, you know what I'm saying, you will heal up and you might be mad, you might press charges, but we can be friends after you get over it and I get over it. But if there's a sexual assault, man, it's a lot of time it's hard to come back. It ain't gonna be the same. That, I could punch somebody in the face and not alter their life. A sex crime, you're gonna alter somebody's life. But I ain't talking about a sex crime. I ain't committed a sex crime. But I say that in an extreme way to say that sex extremely alters a relationship. That's why you don't have sex with your family members. That's why you don't have sex with, you know what I'm saying? You don't have sex with people that, you ain't supposed to have sex with, not quote, but your family. That's why you don't cross that, because the relationship will never be the same. And likewise, that's why you don't have sex before outside of God's design, because the relationship ain't gonna never be the same outside of grace and mercy and God restoring the relationship. But so, I just look at that and say that was spiritual manipulation, as far as, because I use my position in their lives to I violated that trust, and that the light that they seen in me, I took advantage of that and pursued and pursued sex and totally jacked up, So I catch my third case, selling weed, trying to make money to go on. I think we was trying to go on some rap tour or some rap contest or something we was trying to do, and we was trying to hurry up and make some money. So that happens. And at this time now we got our own studio. We got a name and notoriety. So, I get on papers, but I'm working, but I'm side hustling this and that. We doing music and all of this. And in this time, I'm also beginning to be challenged. My theology is starting to be challenged. Because, I ain't never been shy to talk about God or to proclaim God or defend God. Even, while I'm being immature and doing what I'm doing, I'm not afraid or anything to talk about God. So, I started running, we're getting older. I'm running into different people. I'm working jobs and doing a whole bunch of, living. And now I'm running into people. How you know that that's real? You only believe that because you was born here and your mama this and da 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 blah 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 blah. So I'm like, I'm getting hit with questions that I've never been hit before. Even for about a day, I was like, maybe this is a simulation in this matrix, and maybe this is real. How do I know anything? And maybe nothing is real. Yeah, I was there for about 24 hours. I was like, nah, I got to, nah. This is real because God has shown himself to me. I've heard God. I've been miraculously here. This ain't no sim. At least I know that. But in comes the Afrocentric beliefs and the I'm starting to have these conversations. I'm like, okay, you can't talk me out of my faith because I have an evidential faith at this point. So I'm about 22, 23 around now.
Oh yeah. I also wanted to, I also wanted to make known about this. I was also, how I just said I was a, this on Ecamm, but I ain't doing, this just a pre-recorded video. I'm kind of popping in doing commentary, Dave, if you see this. But anyway, I wanted to add this to the record. Like I just said, I was this is all an illusion, all a mirage, the Matrix. I was really that. Like, is this real? Like, am I really alive, or am I really thinking this? I was really there for about 24 hours. And also, when I said all the Afrocentric stuff came in, then that's when I got this Africa tattoo with the pharaoh on it. Like I was going into the Afrocentric, and I was about to be one of the blackety blacks. So I just want, this is what I'm dealing with right now and coming into who I am and who I was called to be. And one thing that sticks out, even going through this series and unpacking this, what the main thing that sticks out is that the reason why, and I talk about the duality, I talk about the consciously living and operating in the spirit and consciously seeing and operating in the flesh at the same time, and how that's been a consistent thing throughout my whole life. Because I never, and this is the crazy part, I never fully surrendered to the world, which is why my life didn't never get super crazy. It got crazy. I did some dumb stuff, and I'm about to tell y'all about that as we go into, what I'm saying? But I was never fully given over to the enemy, because I never renounced God. I never was ashamed of him. I was never afraid to say who he was. I was never afraid to say that I believe in him, and yeah, I'm out here doing all the worst of the worst, and this just what I want to do right now. Basically, I was saying, I know who he is. I recognize him. He is the truth, but I'm rebelling right now. I would never dare say that he is not who he is. I would never dare say, not speak the truth about him. I would always tell the truth about myself. Like, nah, I'm just, what I'm saying? So I wanted to add that little piece about the Afrocentric part about myself and what I was, you know what I'm saying, what I was dealing with and how I was kind of maybe, you know, I was figuring out a whole bunch of stuff, and I wasn't going the Islam way, or I wasn't going the atheist or, you know, the occult or witchcraft way, but the black identity in Christ was seeping in, and you know, because I was trying to reconcile racism and religion, and you know, so yeah.
See, at about 12 or 13, I started actually pursuing God, reading the word, praying. I started hearing from God and dreaming things, and I've experienced supernatural healing. And so I've had an experiential experience with God now. That's my evidence. So you can't talk me out of God, but now I need to know how to defend him. I didn't know the word apologetics yet, but now I'm starting to get introduced into apologetics. So Dr. Fred Price had the first apologetic material I ever encountered was his racism and religion series. You know what I'm saying? And I learned how to defend my faith as far as race. I started learning how to defend my faith as far as, you know, the Nation of Islam versus Christianity. And I start learning how to defend the faith as far as religion and, you know, these other religions and polytheism and all those different things. So that's when I got introduced into defending my faith. So the actual why I believe what I believed. So I started to search out what I know now is apologetics. And, you know, around this 2003 type time, when I started searching apologetics, and I just got a growth spurt in the spirit. And Dr. Fred Price was talking about the importance of speaking in tongues and praying in your heavenly language, and how much of an atomic bomb and weapon it is. And I'm like, I want that. So, you know, I received my spiritual tongue. And when I did that, I got set on fire with the Holy Spirit. And right then and there, I said, I ain't rapping no more. I quit. That was my first absolute surrender. That's the first time I experienced, and now I'm starting to understand absolute surrender. I don't have the words for absolutes. I don't have the term absolute surrender, but I understand surrender.
So real quick,
I call Bino. I say, Bino's working on. We got 2 albums out in the street.
Wait a minute.
Bino's working on his first solo.
Wait a minute. Real quick, I want to add. Also, when this growth happens in the supernatural, this is the time when I discover the concept of absolute surrender, and this is what has to happen. Not only did I stop doing music, this is when God changed my name to Rico Champion. In the first episode, I explained how I was born Rico Jermaine Skelton. I never liked or really gravitated to my last name because it wasn't mine. I wasn't tied to it. It was from a man that I was no relation to. I knew him, and he was a good man to me. And you know, on the rare occasions that I was seeing, but I didn't have my own identity. You know what I'm saying? So I had rap names. So when I stopped rapping, God, when I got at salvation, you are filled with the Holy Spirit. That's different than being baptized in the Holy Spirit, and where the gifts flow and where you grow and where you're activated in the Spirit. That's what happened when I absolutely surrendered to the Father. Not only did I receive my spiritual, my heavenly language, my supernatural language, my prayer language, I also was telling God that I want to live for you. Because in this search, in this apologetics, and this, figuring out what's what, I'm like, Lord, I need you. I need to be empowered by you. I need to know, come in and do whatever you want to do. That's the first time I did that. So in that, he changed my name. So at that time, my name, we was the royal family. So my name was King Payne, because my maternal grandfather's last name is Payne, plus Tupac. So I took Tupac and my name, and I said, okay, I'm King Payne, or Payne. Right. And also, I had a couple other ones, but none of them was what I am. Right. So God strips all of that. He takes everything. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever rap. I don't know. And I didn't care. I just wanted to live for God. I didn't care. I said, well, I ain't King Payne no more. I'm just Rico. I said, God, you tell me who I am. He said, you're a conqueror. You're more than a conqueror. The scripture, you're more than a conqueror, came to my mind. I said, oh, okay. Because in this conversation, I'm talking about my name. I'm speaking in reference to my name, and I was always going to change my name. I was going to change it to Payne, because that was my maternal grandfather's name. And at least I know that, that's my mama's daddy. Of course, he died before I was even born. But just trying to grasp onto a lineage or a identity, I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to start for myself. And my other brothers and sisters is Paynes too. So if they ever want to change their name, then I'll have family that's also Paynes. So in this, I said, I don't know. I don't know, Father. I am who you say I am. And he said, you're a conqueror. You're more than a conqueror. I said, yeah, but I can't change my conqueror. Ain't no last name. And then I heard champion. I said, that's it. That's my name. Now, I also changed my middle name from Jermaine to Elihu. That didn't happen. That I didn't choose that name until about 10 years ago. Even though I didn't legally change my name until about 4 years ago, right after 3 years after I got married. But everybody for the last 20 years has known me as Rico Champion. But I had already said, when I started studying the book of Job about 6 or 7 years ago, I fell in love with Elihu and his power, his passion and his fire. I said, that's me. And so that's how I get to Rico Elihu Champion. So I didn't put that in the original recording, so I just wanted to add that before we continue. So yeah,
Solo album. I'm on like 4 or 5 key songs on there. It's about to be amazing. It's about to be dope. We getting noticed from this person and that person, and we getting noticed from this person and that.
Let me back it up a little bit.
So, I received my spiritual tongue, and when I did that, I got set on fire with the Holy Spirit. And right then and there, I said, I ain't rapping no more. I quit. That was my first absolute surrender. That's the first time I experienced, and now I'm starting to understand absolute surrender. I don't have the words for absolutes. I don't have the term absolute surrender, but I understand surrender. I call Bino. I say, Bino's working on, we got 2 albums out in the street. Bino's working on his first solo album. I'm on like 4 or 5 key songs on there. It's about to be amazing. It's about to be dope. We getting noticed from this person and that person, and and I call Bino. I say, Bino, I ain't rapping no more. He said, what? I said, man, and I'm vocal about my spiritual stance and religious stance, and so everybody knows. So he wasn't surprised when he said, what? I said, man, I can't. God don't want me to rap. He said, man, I can dig it, but dang, what I'm supposed to do? So in '94, from me and Jamar started the royal family, the world's finest royal family, in 1994. At 99, 2000, it was 7, 8 of us in the crew. By the time 2002, 3 come, it's just me and Bino. And now we Nati Boy. The royal family is here and Nati Boy is here. But anyway, and we run in the studio, we recording people, we meet, mixing and mingling, we just having the time of our life, And I'm like, I can't rap no more. He like, dang, man, I can dig it, but he literally started crying, and it broke my heart. Like, dang, like I said, man, I'm my bad, man. He's like, man, I can dig it, man. He's like, dang, what I'm supposed to do? So I quit rapping. I quit everything. And I was like, psh, man, I don't know. I just quit. So a couple months go by. I'm like, well, I could do music, but I just ain't gonna cuss. And I ain't gonna talk about nothing crazy. And I'm gonna do all positive music. So I did that for a while. I actually didn't start. I stopped cussing in my raps. I stopped cussing in my music, and I didn't start back. Now this is 2003. I stopped cussing in my music. From 1994 to 2003, for 9 years, I cussed. I was filthy, right? 2003, I stopped cussing. All the way up to about 2015, I would not cuss. I said the N-word, but that's about it. And I found a slick way to talk crazy, but I still wasn't talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I was. I was talking crazy. Anyway. But a few months after that, I started back making music, but it was clean and it was, and I didn't cuss. It wasn't gospel per se, but I did write my first gospel song where I sampled Fred Price. That song is still dope. But anyway, so fast forward a couple years. I say about 2005, I get a food truck, ice cream truck. I'm going to carpentry school. I'm working. I'm just trying to find my way. I get robbed on the ice cream truck. Little young dudes ran up in there with the gauge and took my backpack with my Bible in it. I'm like, man, come on, man. I'll take my backpack, my Bible in there. I'm a man of God. You know what I'm saying? And what's so crazy about that is that one of the little dudes that robbed me was, now no correlation, she wasn't part of it, but the second girl that, I talked about in this story, she knew one of the little dudes. It was her little people, and she was like, and she was laughing like, they said you was crying talking about you a man of God. I'm like, I wasn't crying, but I'm like, I asked him not to take my book bag because my Bible and stuff was in. I'm like, man, you don't even know who you robbing, man. I'm a man of God. I ain't out here. Yeah. But she thought it was funny. We wasn't cool after that ever again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I know you might have felt some kind of way that, you know, the romantic part of our relationship didn't go how you wanted it to. But dang, you thought it was funny that they robbed me though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think she really understood that she wasn't like laughing at me or laughing that I got robbed, but she was laughing about, I guess, my reaction to them taking my stuff. But I'm like, how you? But anyway, not to get draped off into that. But you know, I'm slowly starting back to make now. I got a reason to make street rap again. So, yeah,
because of the robbery.
Around that time when I stopped making music and I received an outpouring of the Holy Spirit, baptism of the Holy Spirit, we were getting a lot of attention from big names, and we were about to, I believe, we were about to cross over into the industry. And I never forget, in that same season, and what God showed me about music, he showed me that you don't want success this way. This is not what you want. If you keep going, you're going to get it, but this ain't what you want to do, because you got to be somebody different. You got to be somebody that you don't know to go over there and do that. And we was about to do it. And what's so crazy about that is that, you know, Bino was connecting all of the dots. He was the more out front and, you know, sociable type of people. I was the one behind the scenes, but we was working together in tandem. Like, it wouldn't have been Natty Boy without me or him. And we were about to cross over into the industry, and I was like, no, I can't. Now, Bino could have kept going without me, because he is who everybody knew. But when I said I ain't doing it, he didn't finish that album. He didn't release that album. And if I remember correctly, he kind of went into a slump and he just hustled. He just kind of, and we talk about it now. We say it all the time. Like, I'm so glad we didn't make it in music in the world. I'm so glad we didn't make millions. We ain't had no business with millions of dollars. Oh, we would have been destroyed. We talk about it all the time. So at that point, we start back making music. I'm back making, you know, fast forward to about 2005, 2006, ice cream truck, you know, we hustling. We even bigger in the city. People, we are the go-to place for your sound. If you want it, because we weren't just sound engineers, we were producers. When you come to Natty Boy, you don't come and just record a song. You come and leave out with you leave out with something that you couldn't have done nowhere else, because I couldn't just sit there and just push a button and say, all right, you ready? All right. Verse 2, track 2, what, you know, I was involved. I'm like, nah, that's whack. I would coach you. I would, you know what I'm saying? We really love what we did. And we was, you know, the city loved us, and we was working with everybody, and we was having the time of our lives. You know what I'm saying? So around this time, my little brother Ed, my second brother, my mama's third child, he goes to jail for life for being involved with the murder. So I'm falling all the way off. I'm back hustling. I'm studio crazy. Fast forward up to about 2008. I'm back doing all the music that I said I was gonna never do before.
Also, another stupid thing that I did, I was in carpentry school. I was almost finished. dropped out to sell weed and run the studio and to be basically a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I could have just finished. You know what I'm saying? Like, for a long time, I had reoccurring dreams about going back to high school and finishing and getting my diploma. And I would wake up like, hold on, I got my GED. And those reoccurring dreams, which I figured out later that it was about not executing and not completing things and being, going 75%, 80%, 90%, but never finishing anything. You know what I'm saying? We love to start projects and start visions and start stuff. And, a lot of time just drawing it up and starting on it was the thrill and it was good. And then, but then the work comes and you got to execute and you got to finish. Well, those dreams didn't stop until I went to truck driving school and graduated and became a truck driver. All of those, that dream, and it was the same dream over and over. I would have it from time to time, and it was my subconscious convicting me of not executing, not finishing, not, you know what I'm saying? And it was the same. It was my high school, the last high school I went to, and I would go and I would be like, if it was in real time, it would be, I would go a few months and then I would be like, man, why am I here? Like, and then I would get tired of going to school because I ain't making no money because I'm in school. I'm not in the studio all the time because I got to go to class. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, man, why am I even here? Then in the dream, in real time, I will remember in real life, I got my GED. I'm like, why am I here? I already, and that would end the thing. So I wanted to add that piece.
But I just ain't cussing. But I'm still chasing God. I still understand the idea of surrender, but I don't know how to do it. Because I got this mixture. I got the world, I got my flesh, I got my desires, but I got the kingdom, and I know, and and by this time I'm seeing visions. I had a dream that a friend of ours got shot, but I ignored it, and I said, God even put somebody on the bus and said, man, that looked like Tone. You call him. I don't know what I was supposed to say or what I was supposed to do, but God showed me Tone Capone got shot. And not a month later, my cousin Antoine come to work. He like, you hear about Tone? I'm like, what? Man, they shot Tone Capone. I'm like, oh. I'm like, did he die? Like, man, I don't know. Now, in the dream, I didn't see whether he died or not. He lived, and a few years later, I saw him. I was like, man, I want to apologize. He was like, what? I was like, man, when you got shot, before you got shot, now I know. And that was the moment to where I stopped, because I had dreams and seen things before, but I didn't make it. I didn't take it as serious or as important as it should be. And at that moment, I stopped taking for granted the visions and dreams that God was showing me and giving me. At that moment, I knew that I was a dreamer and a seer. And, it's still like that. But I saw Tone and I said, man, I'm sorry, man. God showed me you got shot, and he kept telling me to find you and talk to you. I don't know what I was supposed to say, but I was supposed to warn you, and I didn't. He was like, man, you should have told me. But that happened. But yeah, so that was back in like 2001, 2002. But fast forward back up to like 2000, my brother then went to jail. The city, we got the city on fire. Everybody loved.
Wait, before we move on to the next part, I just want to say the reason why that Tone Capone in the dreams and visions point was so important and the standout point, because that was the moment when I started paying attention to my dreams. Everybody that knows me and has known me also knows that I'm a dreamer and I'm a seer in my dreams. And if I call you and say, hey, I had a dream, everybody be like, uh-oh, like, you know what I'm saying? And so at that point, because I had dreams before then that I ignored, and they were less severe consequences and things, and I kept looking at them like, oh, I kind of dreamed that. But then that one, Tone almost died. Or I don't know if he almost died, but he got shot. So yeah, from then on, like, I pay attention to my dreams. And that was 2001. So yeah, ever since then, I've been locked into what happens in my sleep. And also at that point, I started to take authority over my dreams in my sleep. Like, in my sleep, I could be dreaming something, and let's say it's something sexual, perverted. I can be conscious of it and stop it and rebuke it in my sleep, in the dream, without waking up. I can, and this doesn't happen all the time. I don't dream all the time, actually. But sometimes when I dream and something is going a certain kind of, I can change the dream, because I'm conscious. I'm conscious that, no, I have authority. I've rebuked devils, demons, entities in my sleep, in my dream. Sometimes now if I have a heavy diet of carnal things, TV, music, then I'm not as powerful in my sleep. But when I am not feeding myself the world, whenever I'm in total control in the spirit realm, in my subconscious. And even to the point of, if I'm having a dream that I don't want to have, or I'm having a supernatural encounter in my sleep that I don't want to have, I'll either speak authority to it in my sleep, or if it don't stop, I'll just wake myself up. Now, I don't know if people know how hard it is to wake yourself up out of a dream. You could be woke. You could be woken. Something can wake you up, or somebody can wake you up. But for you to force yourself out of your sleep, that's what I do. So, yeah, I just wanted to point out that, because it don't necessarily, none of my other dreams or whatever come up in this series or this series. But whenever, if you've been rocking with us and paying attention, like I talk about my dreams, and me and Jamar got a lot of situations where I said, hey, I just dreamed so and so, you better chill. But anyway, let's go back. He kept telling me to find you and talk to you. I don't know what I was supposed to say, but I was supposed to warn you, and I didn't. He was like, man, you should have told me. But that happened. But yeah, so that was back in like 2001, 2002. But fast forward back up to like 2000, my brother then went to jail. The city, we got the city on fire. Everybody love us. We putting out, one summer we put out 6 or 7 albums. We got everybody together. We
everybody drop an album. We, you know what I'm saying? And we was just, you know, as they say, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the studio life, you know, and that's around the same time I almost killed my brother. You a sucker. And I knew it would cut deep. And it did. I throw my hand at him and I turned to walk away, and he hit me with a Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson right, and almost knocked and almost broke my jaw. And now I'm talking even more crazy, because now you done violated, because I ain't never did you like that. I ain't never violated you. I'm your big brother. And I'm the one who always looked out for you. I'm the one who was honest with you, was from busting my mouth and busting my butt. I mean, holler at you and see if you was all right and tell you the right thing to do. And I wasn't the one that would borrow money and not give it back. I wasn't the one that would steal your clothes. I wasn't the one that would try to plot on your little female. None of that. I was so I felt like, for real? I was so angry. I felt the spirit of death when my stepdad punched me in my mouth and busted my mouth and busted my lip. And it's a heat that comes over you. That's how the heat and the anger and the spirit of death came up over me, right? And I could just feel like the fire coming. I was gonna kill my brother. A crime of passion. I couldn't think clear, because I was so, and I knew I was so angry that I was gonna be sloppy and I would get caught. And I couldn't calm down and think clear enough to come up with the idea to kill him and get away with it. Kids, I didn't think about my nieces and nephews. I didn't think about my other brothers. I didn't think about none of that. I said, I'm killing him. He violated, he hit me like that, and I ain't never played him like that, and he started it. See, all this justification to be angry and wicked and